you just abandon any precaution. You know, folks, something could happen here, and if it does, so what?
Hey friends, welcome to Nathan for Us, a Nathan Fielder fan podcast. My name is Kelly.
And hi, I'm Megan.
And today we have a very special guest joining us. If you're on YouTube, you would have already seen, but she's a bona fide tastemaker over at Rob Has a Podcast, a writer at parade.com, and most importantly, a fellow Canadian. We have Grace Leeder on the pod today. Grace, how are you?
I'm good. I graduated from one of Canada's top veterinarian schools. I'm not a veterinarian, but I went to the University of Guelph, so, you know.
Amazing. Close by. We were at Laurier and Waterloo.
There we go.
Right
Neighbors.
around the corner.
Pretty much neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us all about your history with Nathan Fielder, Grace.
Oh, I think Nathan Fielder is the smartest human being alive, maybe. I think he's so funny. I don't know when I found Nathan For You, but I think I watched it either it had already finished and I just watched it all, or I watched how many seasons have there been? 4? 3.
Four total, yes.
Yeah, so
a documentary.
And a documentary. Yes. Yeah, I might have found it around the Finding Frances. That's maybe at the end of that run, and then just watch it all. I love it so much. And the rehearsal happened. I love the rehearsal. Then the curse. I love the curse, but I do struggle with feeling like other people will feel like it's also good. I feel like, and I did talk about it weekly as it came out, and so was diving so deep with Dr. Amanda on the curse that I feel like I had such an appreciation for it, but generally don't know if I can ever recommend it to other people. And then the rehearsal season 2 came out, and that also is a work of genius. So I just think he doesn't miss. I think he's so insightful and clever and funny in the best ways, and he makes the best television. And recently, this is my fun fact I was going to bring on here, I met Benny Safdie and told him how much I loved The Cursed.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yes. So that's a very fun thing that happened to me in the last few months. So, yeah.
How did you meet him?
Okay, so I was going to do another interview of another celebrity, and I was waiting for the elevator, and then he showed up, and he had just flown in from Venice, where he had won the Golden Lion, which is for the best director.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, I'm seeing your movie this week. I'm so excited. But also, I love The Curse. He was like, oh, that means a lot. I was like, it must be a whirlwind for you. Like, he had flown in just after Venice. He was like, I am very tired. And then I didn't want to bug him anymore. So then we just went up, and then I got off the elevator, and I ran into Toni Collette on my way to interview.
God.
I know. And then I interviewed Mae Martin, another amazing Canadian.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
what a good day.
That was a pretty surreal day for me, I have to admit.
I loved Mae on Taskmaster.
They're
also,
very fun.
I am trying to spin the conversation to Taskmaster at some point.
Let's do it.
I'm obsessed with it. I love your podcast. I love Taskmaster. I flew to London to go to the live experience. Thank you for all that you do. Yeah, I'm obsessed.
That's amazing.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for having exquisite taste and joining us. So many things.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we are so excited to talk about The Curse. You have obviously seen the rest of the season or the last episode as well. So I think you come in with a bit of a different perspective than we do, because we're kind of going in blind here.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to find out what drew you to this episode specifically, because when I asked you to come on, you said specifically you wanted to come on for episode 9.
Okay, it's a little bit of a cheat. I do think it's a great episode, but I also don't like to impose myself on the finale. But this is the episode in which I can talk the most about The Curse. You know, I'd have without imposing myself and being on the. I don't be like, let me come on the last episode of your, you know, like that.
Oh, that would have been fine.
But like, I know, but I don't like to impose in that way. So I did the next best thing, and I do think this is probably, you know, it's this or the finale are the best episodes of the season, I think. So
okay, I'm glad to know that, because the whole time that I've been like rewatching this episode, I keep thinking like, oh, this is Grace's favorite episode. Like, she really loves it. And I'm like, why?
Well, the other thing
like, she's crazy.
I know. The other thing you should know is when I used to go on BoJack Horsepod, which is another fellow Canadian podcast, Lindsay Wilson, Kristen McInnes. They'd be like, what episode do you want to come on? And I'd look and I'd be like, oh yeah, that one. And then we'd watch the episode, and it's like the saddest, most awkward, brutal episodes. This is in like living in this space is my favorite. But I do think this is like there's so much to unpack here in this episode in the way things unfold, and it's a very like climactic episode. And I do think there is so much more to come, because I honestly think that the finale is incredible, but it's pretty wild. And this kind of feels like a combination of many of the things it's exploring, but in the normal way. Like kind of like it's still awkward, but this is pretty normal. I mean, on the Nathan Fielder scale,
Yes.
this isn't
Grounded.
that. This is pretty grounded. And then next week, just wait. You have fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous.
I know.
Because
I don't know how to feel about the finale coming up so soon. We do have a voicemail asking about the finale as well. We'll do it at the end. But yeah, Meg, how are you feeling about it?
Oh man, there's too much to conclude. Like, what is the runtime? Is it 3 hours for the last episode? I don't understand how we could conclude the 20 things we have gotten zero conclusion on. I was telling Kelly on a different episode of ours that I feel like the shtick might be they set you up to get really nervous and to worry about some event or some plot line, and then they just completely drop it and ignore it. And it's like just this constant state of getting worked up and nervous and a little uncomfy, and then they give you no payoff and no conclusion. And so part of me, and you know, we'll make some predictions later, but I'm like, will anything even be concluded? Like, you have so much to do.
I
have to
can't
find
really
out.
answer that for you, because I know.
If you could just lay it out for us, that would be great.
I mean, it was this. What I love about The Curse, just as like, and specifically for you two who love Nathan Fielder, is this is his first foray into like the rehearsal was a different venture that he did. This is not the rehearsal. This is like fully an entry into scripted television in its entirely. Although I think it still feels kind of like documentary-esque, but it is all scripted. And it was really interesting as like when Dr. Amanda and I watched it to like think like, why did he want to do this? Like, what was he trying to get out of doing this? Which part of it I just think is like, he does get to work with, I think, two incredible collaborators in Betty Softy and Emma Stone, who she is just incredible in the show, I think. Oh, and so it is fun to kind of think like, what are you doing? Because that is so much of like Nathan for you and the rehearsal. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? And this is like a sort of in a whole different ballpark, but it's very fun to try to explore. But I think, I mean, in terms of you talking about like, he does pick up a lot. Like they do like put a lot in here and then maybe doesn't always follow up on it. That to me though does feel Fielder-esque in the way that he like when you look at what the rehearsal was going to be, which did seem like it was just going to be singular things. Like I think he just like dives into something he's interested in. And if there's more to explore there, not at the very least, we've examined it, you know?
He's like me picking up a new hobby where it's like he's going to get really into it for a little small amount of time. Like go into my closet. I've got so many half-finished knitting projects. And that's like Nathan Fielder
I think
when he gets into a project a little bit. Okay, speaking of which, we did get some light Nathan Fielder news. And by that, I mean everyone I know sent me this TikTok of Nathan Fielder.
So many times.
So apparently someone spotted Nathan Fielder on Raya. Cannot confirm if it's really him, but seemingly I think it's kind of hard to fake a Raya account. So it seems like he might be single, but who knows for sure. But that's
breaking
the tea.
News.
Raya is that the one that's like you have to be famous? Is this right? No. What is
think
Raya?
so,
Yeah. Okay.
It's like dating, but
it's
you're
exclusive.
popular.
Yeah. They do let like influencers and stuff on it though. I think you just have to have a certain number of followers.
But the problem with it, and like I'm sorry that like he's done this to himself, but like Nathan Fielder having a Raya account doesn't mean anything. It means it could be in real life he's trying to I don't know whether he's single or not, or
he had a girlfriend,
or he's filming the rehearsal season 3. You know, like there's really no way.
He better be single if he's actually on Raya, or I'm gonna be big mad.
True.
Also, frankly, if he is single, how dare he not actually film The Hunk and give me like the conclusion I've been waiting like half of my life for? If he didn't just like, he should just be the head of a dating show and just be The Hunk. That's all I've ever wanted.
Okay.
Well, I don't think we're getting The Hunk anytime soon, but if you're in New York City or the LA area, you can watch out if you're on Raya. You might come across Nathan Fielder's profile, or just look it up on TikTok and you can see his photos he's chosen.
Would he not immediately take it down?
Yeah. The TikTok was somebody having like matched with it or like found his profile. This is what it is.
So the thing with Raya is you're not allowed to take screenshots or screen record. So the only way you can actually record is someone has to film your phone. So it's
Right.
like someone filming someone else's phone going through his profile.
Incredible.
So breaking news. You heard it here first. And we heard it from everyone who knows us.
I did literally hear it here first. So yeah.
If you match with him on Raya, 1, congratulations. 2,
Yeah.
don't actually go out with him. Ask him to do the hunk. Thank you.
Oh, what do you ask him to come on the podcast? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
that's right.
Oh, what? No, that would be. I couldn't actually talk to him. What would we say? Hi, we've been talking about you for 5 years. No, that's too much.
I think
That's
you
crazy.
have I think there's a incredibly good shot that you could get. Like this feels like the type of thing that Nathan Fielder would do, you know?
I think if he
So-
wanted to like trick us into doing something, that might happen, or like trick us into stop talking about him.
Maybe.
He would maybe try to do that, like get us distracted. But yeah, I think he must know. He must. I
He
think we say
knows.
that every few episodes. We're like,
He
must
definitely
know.
knows. There's
Every
no
time
way
we
you
have a guest and they ask like, why haven't we had Nathan Fielder on? Well, we discussed this, that he must know and he must think we're batshit crazy.
We've also literally never put in any effort to do so. Like, we've put in zero effort to try and get Nathan Fielder to come on this podcast.
Yeah.
We put in so much more effort trying to get, like, Core from the rehearsal season 1 to come on.
Is that like is it better? Is it like funnier to not try and then hope it happens one day? Or is this like if we try and he says no, then that like the dream of him ever coming on is over? Yeah, that. That's
I think
really
it's
fair.
like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
better to not ask. Like,
I think so.
I don't even need to get my hopes up.
Yeah.
The only thing I've done is when we were doing the rehearsal, we did one of our like edits. The photo for the episode was like a close up of our eyes. So like one of them was Kelly, one of them was me, and I think 2 of them were Nathan Fielder. And I tagged him, and it asked me if I wanted to ask him to be a collaborator, and I was like, yeah, sure. So that's the only message that we've sent him is requesting him to be a collaborator on this photo that's a close-up of his eyes and also our eyes. So he might have looked into our eyes at some point, but that's it.
He wasn't really doing like a press junket for the rehearsal because I was writing a little bit like and we did try, but they weren't doing like a junket. So he then did go. I think this is he should be ashamed. Did he go on CNN? Yeah, he went on with Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was after the season. He was getting a lot of aviation news headlines making, but I don't think that he would particularly enjoy a press junket day. So I can't really blame him for not doing it. So
Hilariously, so my parents recently found out that I had a podcast, and my stepdad was like, he's like a very supportive person and was like, oh, I'm gonna learn about this and look into it, and got very confused about the difference between Nathan For You and the rehearsal, and I think he thought they were the same show. So he picked like a random middle episode of the rehearsal to watched it like season 1 episode 3, got very confused
Oh, no.
from the rehearsal, and then was trying to like seem like he knew, or like was trying to be enthusiastic and supportive, but was like
That's
clearly very
nice.
confused. And I was like, what have you done? And then I had to break it down that like Nathan For You could watch a random episode, but like the rehearsal, you should probably watch episode 1 first, or you might be a little confused as to what's happening, because he dropped in the middle of like Angela with like children.
Yeah,
And I was
especially
like,
season
I'm
1.
sorry. Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry.
Like season 2 obviously does end up having like an overarching theme as well, but it does feel like season 1 ended up being like, this is the right. This is the word that like COVID really impact. Like he was going to be
Yeah.
more Nathan For You-esque until COVID happens and they decide to like fully go in on the child thing. Yeah, yeah, incredible. Anyway,
All right, well, getting back to the curse. We open this episode and we finally meet our HGTV exec, Martha, who I feel like we have heard about multiple times, and now she's finally here. We see her at Ayoshaka Jeans. Pascal and Janice are trying on some jeans. Pascal can't get them on. And this is where Martha's kind of like, oh, I love this. You guys are amazing. And she also suggests that Whitney and Asher try this jeans gag as well.
Yeah, this bit is not that good, right? Like, it's really awkward. And the leaning over and like pulling your partner's jeans around, like, that's my absolute nightmare, is my partner trying to, like, my jeans not fitting, and then my partner being like, don't worry, babe, I'll do them up for you, and desperately trying to close my jeans when they clearly don't fit. Sounds like maybe hell.
It is hell, but the most important piece of this is that it's like we're putting Nathan in this like sort of jester role. Like that's the most important piece of this. I should say, I'm going to call him Nathan, but Asher. Very strange to call him Asher. That's the most important piece of this, is that like they're going to try to do, because like, so my parents love to have HGTV on while I am at their house. It's the only time I watch HGTV, and it just plays all day long. And there's specifically one, there's a Canadian one. I think maybe they're not Canadian, but they're this couple who like go in and renovate homes, and they feel very like, they're not quite Asher Whitney like, because obviously the Asher and Whitney thing is so
dynamic.
The comedy is that like Asher is like, she is, well, the idea is that she's better than him, but what I love about the show is that she's not really that much better than him. Like that's what I love. That's what I think is very complicated about this dynamic, is that she believes she's better than him, and maybe there are ways which she is, but also she is kind of not an amazing person either. And so is she really that much better than Asher? And that dynamic playing through this episode. But this situation is perfect for Asher to look like a fool, where his pants don't fit and she has to help him put them on.
Yeah, and like even later at dinner when everyone goes out for some sushi boat restaurant, Martha again reiterates that Asher is meant to be the jester to our Green Queen. So she's really making sure that everyone's aware and like doubling down. And Asher does take it well. The fact that they changed the name and kind of all this info coming at him.
Well, they do, but then also what I love about this whole thing is like you have this idea that like he's a jester to Whitney and Whitney is the Green Queen. But then also this whole she then has a with like, that's not exactly also what she wants. Like she wants to be the Green Queen, but she doesn't really want a jester either. I think she would rather like a knight, you know?
Yeah.
And so then she would rather maybe like, she's having all these thoughts about like, should I be with him? And then they're also like, oh no, but it's definitely a couple thing. Like it's not the green, like it can be the Green Queen, but it also is about the two of you being in a relationship.
And it's like they're very aggressive that like they need to be together. Or at least, like, it seems that Martha feels that way. Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, it's season 1, episode 1 or
0.
2. Yeah. You can't introduce a couple that hate each other. Like, that would be so awkward for HGTV to introduce a couple who actually hates each other and gets divorced within the first few episodes of the show.
Well, the pilot episode that like, when they recut it, what an intense
oh my god
episode. Imagine that's the first episode of like the HGTV show I'm watching at my parents' house. Like what a nightmare. It's too complicated.
But you'd be locked in.
I would be
locked in.
Well, my parents would be like, no. Like turning it off. Yeah.
It would be a lot. And in another episode, we were discussing the fact that Whitney, I don't think actually wants like a knight or a king or someone who is her equal. Because I think she would be really intimidated. Like, I think she wants to be the star. I think if her partner was, like, super handsome, charming, funny, I think he would be stealing the spotlight from her a little bit too much. And frankly, I feel like being, like, the silly sidekick is the much more fun part of a show anyway. So I feel like Asher is winning a little bit in this very brief moment at the sushi restaurant.
Okay, let's talk a little about this other situation that we see where Tanya tells Whitney that one of the camera PAs had written this kind of interesting note and left it on her car referencing that her family or that she's a slumlord. And so Whitney like really aggressively wants to talk to him. She doesn't want him to be fired. And then it ends up kind of being this conversation with Phoebe, who's a driver on the show, who had been evicted, or her uncle had been evicted from one of Whitney's parents' buildings. What do we think about this whole situation? Is Whitney being sincere in any of this when she is trying to help Phoebe's uncle? Or is this all just to keep up the facade that she's such a great person and the greenest of queens?
What do you think, Megan?
Well, I think so there's two different situations. So you get an aggressive note left on your car, which feels very Jersey Shore to me, but that's just like the note icon, right? And I think she's being sincere when she wants him to not be fired and she wants him back on the show. We see she calls him on speakerphone and wants to resolve the situation. I think mainly because she wants to convince him that she's not a slumlord, she has nothing to do with this. So again, she hates the idea of someone out in the universe thinking this of her and wants to immediately solve it and have it go away and put it in a box. So it's like she can't leave the situation unresolved without giving her 2 cents and making sure that every single person she encounters thinks she is incredibly kind and good and a green queen. So she sees an issue and needs to resolve it. So I think it's genuine that she wants the situation resolved, but it's all about keeping up the facade.
Yeah, I think my favorite part of The Curse is really Emma Stone's performance and the inspection into her and her Whitney's identity. And there's so much that plays over the course of the show. I mean, if you look at there's the imagery of like the title of the show being The Curse, being in this sort of like mirror distorted font, and then the reflection of like the houses that they've built being these like reflective houses, and the show is so much about identity, and then also so many of the camera shots. We haven't really I feel like the first scene of this episode is a lingering shot of like somebody in a car following Whitney, and then driving past her and getting to the location. And so much of the show, and then the fact that they're a television show, and so what is their true identity and what is the way in which they want to be perceived. All of that, I think, is what I think the cinematography and the editing of the show is actually like really brilliant, because it's like really, I feel like for somebody like Nathan, where like everything is really intentional, but also I think you could easily miss all this stuff kind of, and it's so actually well thought out. And this idea that Whitney wants to save this guy's job, who has put a note, it's like there's so many things happening at once, because I don't know whether she wants him not to have a job because she doesn't really care about him. She cares about how it's her image that is affected. But there's a double thing too, where it's like she's kind of right that it's like it's not her, it's her parents. But then when we meet them, like when we have the scene later, like she's getting a loan from her parents, so she is benefiting from her parents' financials, and all of that being like tied together is so. Because I think Whitney is like not really a good person, even if she really wants to be a good person. She doesn't have enough like, I don't know, like sense to know that she's sort of faking her way through everything.
Yeah, everything's a means to an end, right? I think, like, as you said, it does feel like she doesn't want this Patrick person to lose his job. But like we saw, I think just in the previous episode, when Asher was saying, well, Fernando's going to lose his job if Bigger Your Coffee closes. And like Whitney makes fun of Asher for caring about Fernando losing his job. Right. So she really only cares when it either benefits her or alternatively, like they're filming the show. But then even her being on set on the show is like her performing in a way where she's trying to make sure that everyone who works on the set knows she's so great, except for Dougie, who I think Dougie has seen a little bit behind the curtain. But it just feels like she's constantly kind of performing. I think we do see her break down with her parents later on as well, which is interesting. But yeah, I definitely agree. Whitney, not a great person.
Well, and we're gonna get the scene with masseuse as well, which is there's so much there, I think, to dive into. Yeah. So
if we want to go to part 2 of this, where now it's she's seeing her parents, and she wants to resolve this issue where someone who's working on the show, her uncle has been kicked out of one of her parents' buildings. Now, when she goes to confront her parents about this, we learn that he is a horrific tenant. He is nicknamed the Ripper by her parents. He's like ripped out all of like the fridge, the stove, the microwave, sold it forced her parents to replace it, ripped it out of the wall, sold it again. So this is like clearly not a good tenant. And they get into a big argument about if they should let him stay. And I think her parents make an excellent point of, you know, they're clearly offering her a job. I think saying that she's getting a loan is pretty generous or a pretty kind way of putting it. We saw her parents give her 40 grand earlier this season. I would be surprised if it was an actual loan. They're just like handing her money. They bought her multiple properties. She's clearly benefiting from them. And to their credit, says, you know, if you want to have influence on this building and you want to decide who can stay and go, then take the job. Come here and do the work every single day, because it's hard to be a landlord. And I'm not saying that her parents are good landlords by any means. But again, it's just because she's associated with them and she wants to fix this relationship on set so that she looks good and she'll be the hero. Because anyone going and whispering about her on the set, she wants to think that she's like an absolute angel and amazing, which the cast and crew seem to think that right now.
Yeah, this whole scene with her parents is very intense. I feel like them arguing with each other, it felt really real.
Yeah.
Not that I ever fight with my mom like this. Famously, a listener of this podcast who did let me know that she would lend me $40,000 if she had it.
That's nice.
So, shout out to my mom for that.
Sherry, we're looking for you to just give Kelly, with no strings attached, 40
not
grand
alone.
so she can pay off a friend about 20 grand to just hang out with her, which I'm accepting.
Meg's available.
Yeah, this scene
I'm
with
available.
the scene with the parents is I agree with you, Megan, in the sense that I think that they're both saying things that are true, and also like clearly the place where they're staying at, he's moved in, so they don't have to let somebody else rent it, and there are literal it's like a cockroach on the wall that he's like
oh my
trapping.
God.
Like it's like
So
horrendous location like that they have, and also like yeah, they're like it's not as easy to just like let that guy keep living in their apartment. So both things can be true, and Whitney just wants it to be a particular way that is the best way it can be for her. So I like it. I love this scene. I think it's great.
We also get the info that apparently when they were digging up for the new houses, that Asher said, they told Asher, if you find any native artifacts, just throw them out, and so you don't have to deal with a title dispute, which is wild.
So crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah. Again, everyone on this show is fucking awful. Like, they're all terrible people.
I think what's the best with it is that, like, although Whitney would be like, no, I would happily like give it over, I don't know whether that's true. That's probably not true either. I think she probably would not. I think she might like not throw it away, and she might figure out how to like, she might find it somewhere else and like and give the artifact, but like in a way that again would look really good on her. But she wouldn't do. She wouldn't like.
I feel like she would give show that the artifacts were there and try to make it a whole episode of the show and how generous she is. But again, it's back to what even her parents were saying. Like, it's easy to be generous when it's not your money and you just seem to have an infinite amount. It's easy to buy the $14,000 worth of jeans instead of, you know, having to actually do something about a problem. Like, she can just throw money at every single problem in her life and just try to force everyone to like her. That she doesn't have to actually like get her hands dirty, get in the weeds, actually evict the tenant, deal with the consequences of someone trying to abuse the system or abuse you as a landlord. And so it's just continuously shown that she doesn't want to have to deal with anything. And so she just tries to make everyone do what she wants because she's so used to getting anything she wants.
Yeah.
It's honestly amazing she's not happier, because like I wish I just had money to throw at problems. I
was thinking that that's kind of sick, like to not have to deal with any problems and to just be able to throw money at everything. Like, that sounds really great.
It would be pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But doesn't she
We're all
deserve
like,
happiness too? So
I think she thinks she's happy.
No, I think
kind of.
Well, in the episode, she's like, "Don't I deserve like someone who makes me happy?" She's not happy.
In her marriage specifically, she I think went down this rabbit hole of how amazing would I be, like, being on my own on camera, being the green queen, and like I'm gonna have so many suitors like throwing themselves at me, and everyone's gonna be obsessed with me. And then I think we see that she likes being fought for, and I think it's not all it's cracked up to be. I think she would actually be pretty upset if Asher left.
I think what Whitney doesn't realize is like everything that she wants in her life comes with strings attached, and she's so annoyed that there are strings attached to it. So like the money from her parents come from them being like slumlord,
Terrible,
landlords. Having like a doting husband who will do like anything for you comes with this like, wow, he's really annoying. It's like everything has strings, and that's annoying to Whitney. She can get a TV show, but she has to do it with Asher now. How annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. That is so true. Yeah, I feel that deeply.
It's Whitney's world, and we're just living in it.
Yeah.
We see this, I want to call it like almost an altercation between Asher and Whitney also at Barrier Coffee.
I hated this. And I hate so much, but I really hated this.
She really wants Asher to take her bowling to like kind of try and mend this relationship a little bit, but then he keeps asking her like, oh, you love me, right? Which I think he also asked early in the season when Whitney had said she was pregnant as well, and she also didn't answer then. So we're coming back to you love me, right? And she just will not answer. Like, she will not even just fake it. She just refuses to say anything and keeps like playing it off and like being like, let's go bowling.
Okay, can I tell you guys a funny story?
Please.
Okay, so I was like in a fight / breaking up with someone, and we decided to go bowling during this. We decided like, you know what? Things are like, not going great. Like, we're kind of moving in different directions in our life. And like, we're both sad about it. We're not mad about it. But like, while we're talking about this, we should go bowling so that at least like we're doing something fun while this conversation is
incredible.
Happening. Mm-hmm. So we went bowling and then continued. Like, we ended up just sadly bowling. But it made me think of this, that like, you know what? Sometimes when times are tough, like, you just got to go bowling, and maybe that's okay.
This is essentially a Nathan for you pitch for a bowling alley. Of like, you could do your breakup here. You could just, It's like, should you not have like one positive in the situation to like reflect on? Like, you know what? This isn't like the most fun conversation, but like bowling's kind of fun, so at least something good is kind of happening. Was at least the thought process. I don't know if it played out super well that way, but like, it just made me think of me a little bit. This is so funny.
I was like, that is weird that we went bowling, but we talk about it all the time.
That's insane.
Pretty great.
I'm trying to think of like where I would want to go.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking. If I was
thinking
being
too.
Broken, like, I don't know if there's a good answer. Maybe like
if you're
marble slab, Cold Stone Creamery.
I was going to say a treat as well. Might as well get a treat,
Yeah.
It's so I think some key parts of this, it's like, we're not like angry at each other. We're kind of like sad and are understanding the situation. So it's not like we're livid at each other, like actively angry. We're just kind of like sadly accepting the reality of the situation.
It does when you put it that way, it does kind of sound like the end to like a sad rom-com where like it doesn't work out. But like the last scene is like they go bowling to at least have a fun time before they break up, and then they leave. Like, I can see it.
See?
And it's called 7-10 Split.
That is incredible. It is very good.
Ask me now. I have lived experience.
You can be my $20,000 consultant.
Wow.
This is like the role of I was born to do. To like have this whirlwind romance and then realize we're going in different directions and decide that like while we're breaking up we should at least go bowling, because like, you know what, bowling's so fun and we're really passionate and fun people, and like at least we'll always have the bowling alley.
Okay, one romantic thing to talk about with this. Asher's really good at bowling. Is this an ick or is it a turn on? Because we have talked about before on this podcast that competence is a turn on. Grace,
yes,
do you have an opinion? Is it an ick or is it
competence
good?
That is true. I it's mostly the glove. Like I wish he was just
Yes.
good. He was just kind of good at it, without trying so hard to be good at it. But you got to try hard to be good. Maybe, I don't know. Well, the other piece of this, I feel like the other piece of this is like we get the confrontation with Bill, where Bill comes over and like realizes, oh, like I'm sorry, like I was ignoring you, like you weren't the leaker, and then in a moment of, standing up for himself a little bit, Asher declares that he was the leaker and confronts him. Yeah.
Should Bill and Nathan have started bowling together?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
That's the real misstep here.
Like
Take
a
your
bowl
anger
off.
out. Yes, a bowl off. Like
Yeah.
get your anger out in the alley,
You want to take this to the? You want to take this to the alley,
the alley.
the bowling alley?
Don't get in the gutters. I don't know
Yeah,
any other
this is great.
bowling things. But yeah,
Put a
I
pin in
think-
it.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
I feel like the most awkward thing about the bowling alley for me is the last time I went to a bowling alley, it was for like a 5th birthday party. So there was just like so many kids. So I'm
Yeah.
just imagining like this altercation happening. Asher yelling at Bill, being like, I am a tool because I fix things. And then like there's 20 kids like eating pizza and like screaming the lyrics to Frozen in the background.
I will admit that when I started watching The Curse for the first, I was like, the toughest part of the show is going to be like, is Nathan Fielder a good actor? And he's put himself in a show with Emma Stone. That's going to be tough. And I do feel like he is just perfectly cast in this role. And it is the moment where he says, yeah, I am a tool. Tools fix things. That I'm like,
I hated that.
Perfectly cast Nathan Fielder as Asher Siegel here. It's great. It is great. But it's so
His
awkward.
years of training
Mhm.
and of having to keep a straight face.
Mhm.
Like, I strongly believe that grandson's pee walked, so I am a tool because I can fix things could run. Because you could not, like, I dare any other actor to try to say that line with a straight face. Like,
So
dear
good.
Lord, was that atrocious.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how he did it, but he did. And
He persevered.
Whitney seemed like mildly impressed that he stood up for himself. I mean, it seems like this is kind of something she's been wanting at least.
Okay, well, I think this is all like, I do feel like the biggest ick of this whole thing for Whitney is when they get home and he
Yes.
is
Oh my
muttering to himself
God.
in the bathroom.
Oh my
Immediately back to ick. Yeah, the bathroom scene is
Wait,
so
what
crazy.
Do you mean, what do you mean back? There was ick
Yeah.
the whole time.
The whole time.
Well, I feel
What part did you not have the ick?
if you, depending on your feelings on his bowling skills, if you think
Okay.
him being good at bowling is a
Mhm.
turn on, and then
He's good, but not great. Like 195 is like you are a good bowler, but you're not a great bowler.
oh my God,
300
know
is a
much about
perfect.
bowling.
300 is a perfect.
300's perfect.
Perfect.
Like it's good if you're like if we went bowling and we got 195, like that would be unbelievably impressive.
right.
But as soon as you like
He has
go
a
into a
glove.
league,
Yeah.
yeah, you pull out your own glove. We
You gotta
should be
crack
bowling
200.
we should be bowling a little better.
Hmm. But yeah, he's muttering to himself in the bathroom.
The worst, I think, actually, maybe my actual least favorite part of the show, and there's so many that I have, but I turned on, like, I started it, and then I went back, and I turned on the subtitles. I was like, did I type it out? Because it was really bothering me. I hated this. It was, I don't know how she didn't knock, or didn't, like, open the door, or didn't do something. I don't know how you sit through listening to this.
Because,
It's
like, what do you
crazy.
say? What are you gonna say? I feel like it's such an awkward situation for Whitney to just be overhearing this. I feel like you said, Meg, I think you said muttering under his breath. Like, he's like, he sounds like he's just talking.
Yeah, I wrote down a few of the things. So I turned on the caption and he says, this part is funny. I'd love to see your face under that mustache. I bet you're ugly as fuck, which I thought was very funny. And also, Nathan clearly loves a mustache. He's like, you look pretty incredible, but
He
bet
wants
you're
to go
really
for a
ugly
mustache
under-"
ride.
Yeah. And then he talks about how hot his wife is and that he bets Bill wants to fuck the shit out of her and that he wants to watch Bill fuck his wife. Like, oh, the whistleblower's wife. One, so like the cuck allegations are just full blown, right? Like it's just a fact. He just loves the thought of someone else fucking his wife, which is, you know, crazy.
Hey,
And he's just
you can't
going
yuck
on.
someone's yum, you know, whatever. But
There's no.
Well,
I'm not here to kink shame Asher
I'm here to shame
Seagull.
a little bit. I'm here to shame a little bit.
Look, I think, you know, it's not a great look from Asher, but like to your point, I think, Kelly, like, yeah, to not shame, I do really feel like to some degree this, like, Asher's brain is so that, like, this is what I think, like, this is what he is sort of getting turned on. I think because he thinks it's kind of what Whitney wants, I think, a little bit, in the sense that, like, he's been put into this position so much that even in like his like bathroom fantasy of it all, this is the role he's taking of like watching his wife and the guy he like stood up to. That's the most excited he gets is being put into that position again. It's so sad. I'm kind of just sad for him.
But like Whitney does not seem into it at all. Like you would think that if that's like their relationship dynamic and he's into it and she's into it and this is like a thing that they go do, you would think that she's not like listening. She seemed really not into it listening at the door.
But again, to go back to like Whitney doesn't know what she wants. Like everything has strings attached. She either has this version where it's, and that is now like gross to her and like it's an ick, or she gets like you know, the knight in shining armor, and then like that to her probably has like, I do think she wants like the most beautiful who only says funny things at the exact time that Whitney does. That's like not quite as funny as her. So like, this is the closest she's been able to find, and it's not good enough. It's like not the advanced model yet. It's like she needs to return it. If anything, this is a rehearsal for
back
a future
to corporate
version.
comedy.
Yeah.
I
would be so
Try
curious
again.
to see her exes. Like, I want to see her dating history very badly.
Oh,
agreed.
Yes.
I'm surprised we
I
never get it
also-
in the show. Yeah, like a
I
hint of who
also
she
wa-
dated.
Yeah.
That would be incredible for an ex to show back up. Also, I just want to, and like, I don't know if I want to see, but like, is Asher talking to himself in the mirror? Is he in the shower?
No,
Is he?
he's cranking the hog.
I think so as well.
No.
I do think. I
Sorry.
think that's what's happening. Yeah, I do have to.
I don't know why that was the first euphemism that came to mind, but that's the one I came up with.
I wanted us to all agree that like was not what he was doing.
We could pretend. We could take it again and pretend that's not what's happening. But
Guys, let's talk about how he was looking for sure, just like in the shower, washing his hair, and his hands were occupied.
fully clothed in the shower,
Yeah.
Fully
just
clothed
standing.
in the shower.
It's fine.
He's a never nude, actually.
Because this also, I think, in terms of like, and I don't mean to jump ahead, but like the big question I think of this episode is like, knowing that the network does not want the edit that Dougie has made, why do we show Asher this edit? Why do we say, fine, we'll go see the edit and go see it? And I think it's part of this. Like, I only watched this through once, so like I'm like rethinking about it now. Like these moments keep happening where she's like, and again, Whitney kind of like, although she is saying it on the thing, but she can kind of be like, she can just like, she doesn't actually have to have a real conversation with him. Again, through like distorted mirror image stuff, she can tell him all this stuff through like an edited episode of television, and then we'll get his reaction. But I was trying to like, as I watched that scene where he has to watch it, it's like, why did she show him this? And at the end, Dougie's like, oh yeah, the network does not like this.
They hate it.
They hate it. This will never see the air. This was never going to make it. So
Yeah, I think it's just, and at the beginning of this season or the show, I guess, I feel like we saw that there was some issues. Like Asher and Whitney obviously had some marital problems. Like Whitney seemed like she maybe had some problems with Asher, but it was not this bad. It feels like it's just getting progressively worse. Like they are going through the motions, and like Whitney is just getting way more icked out every episode that she's around him.
Because now it's real, because like the HGV, they have to be in it together. So if this is going to be her like rise to fame, it comes with Asher. So it's all like very, you know, it's becoming set in stone.
And I think part of it too, like we saw again at the beginning of the season when she was deleting the comments on the Instagram post where she was on like architectural whatever,
Yes.
that she doesn't take criticism very well. So I feel like that's also part of it. Like, not that Asher's particularly criticizing her, but anytime he has, like, she's freaked out and it's like really turned her off as well. All right, shall we talk about the massage scene? Whitney goes for a massage. She shows up and the masseuse ends up being Kara, who she doesn't know also works at this spa. And basically Whitney's like, I don't want to do the massage, and instead she leaves but still pays and leaves a $350 tip to Kara. Grace, how do you what are your feelings on this scene?
So the one thing I couldn't quite, how does she, because I haven't watched the previous episode, so I'm like jumping back into this episode. Is there any reason why she would know that Carol works at the, like, and that she booked this masseuse appointment knowing that it would be her? Because that's the one piece that I like, it changes, I think, my feelings about it, whether it's like sort of an accident or if it's or if there's intentionality behind going to get a massage from her.
From my read, I don't believe in the previous episode that it comes up at all, because even Kara says like, oh, I just started working here again, like I worked here a while ago and I just am rethinking my life a bit, is like what she says. So I feel like Whitney doesn't know that it's gonna end up being Kara.
Yeah. So then you get the situation where Kara comes in and Whitney's like, oh, it's you. And then Kara's kind of like, I could get somebody else. And Whitney is like, no, I would definitely rather have it be you. But then clearly changes her mind, doesn't want to get a massage from Kara. So then cancels and then has to pay the tip because she can't look like a bad person. So she'll pay for the appointment and pay the tip. And
like a huge tip.
A huge tip. Again, it's just Whitney thinks that she can solve a lot of problems with money. So it's just, I think, reinforcing that idea. It's excruciatingly awkward, I think, the whole thing. To decide not to get the massage, or just see somebody else. That's the real thing, right? Just see somebody else and just pay for a massage and give her a normal tip.
I'm not like a massage girl, but Meg, you are, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is almost the most relatable Whitney has been, where it's like, what would you actually do in the situation where, frankly, I would pay any amount of money to get out of a slightly awkward social situation. Like, I wish, that sounds great. But like seeing a friend at a massage parlor would be very weird. And then needing to like not offend them by wanting someone else, and then saying, no, of course, like it's cool if it's you, and then realizing it's super weird and backing off. Like, this is the only time where I really understand and would be like, oh yeah, I would want to leave, because it would be very weird to be like mostly naked on a table in front of your friend while you're paying them to like give you a massage. Like, that's very awkward.
We're saying friend.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's the other piece of this, you know.
Their work friend.
One of you thinks you are friends. To Kara, they are friends. Or sorry, to Whitney, this is her friend. From Whitney's perspective, they are friends. Very good friends. And I would panic. And like, you should leave a tip, but like, she doesn't get it enough to realize that you've left so much that now you've made it awkward. Like, you've left so much, it's insulting. Yeah. It's insulting at this point. And you should have left like $50 would have been a very generous tip for not getting a massage from someone, and you could have like wiped your hands clean of the situation. Leaving that much, you're now forcing Kara to have to say something to you afterwards about it, and it's very awkward.
Yeah, I agree. Most of the situation is probably like the most like, you know, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, yeah, I could see Larry being in a situation where like he goes for a massage, it's somebody he knows. He's like, no, no, thank you, and doesn't really want to say no, so he just like cancels and pays too much of a tip, and that like weighs on him. It's like in combination with everything else we've seen about Whitney, this isn't that bad, but it's that she thinks she can fix it with money, and that we know that she's being paid by her parents. That like, it's not actually really her money. That's what, you know, it's like a little cherry on top for like, she's not great. It's not the worst thing she's done, but she thinks she can resolve it through wealth.
Yeah, I also do feel like, so right after this scene is when we see Whitney like really aggressively on her rowing machine.
Yes.
And I did kind of read it.
Bad form.
Bad form. I did read that as like, okay, maybe Whitney does actually have more anxiety than I thought, because like in my mind it feels like, yeah, Whitney just does all this stuff and then essentially like moves on with her life. But it did feel like this was like an anxious workout after like having this awkward situation with Kara, and like maybe she's rethinking what is going on.
Well, I think she's unhappy, right? Like she's just a very unhappy, because like, as much as I think like, does she think Kara's her friend? I think she probably reads it as much as that she would very much like Kara to be her friend, but mostly because that would be advantageous for Whitney. That would be like helpful for her in her life living in this community. And she kind of knows that like that's not really what's happening. And so that's not really working. She has to do the show with Asher. Their relationship isn't great. Like nothing is really going that well for Whitney. And I think all of that is definitely, weighing on her a lot.
Yeah, we've never seen Whitney and Kara have a conversation about Kara's life. Like, we
Right.
know nothing basically about Kara.
She didn't know that she used to work at the spa and is now working at the spa again.
Yeah.
Like, your job normally comes up, like, with your friend. Oh, yeah, I started, like, I've been working here again. Like, that's something that would come up if you are friends with someone, like, work and changes in your work. Especially if you're coworkers and friends. So,
Right.
clearly they don't actually talk much, but yeah, panic rowing and then Asher coming over and trying to have a conversation. Like, I would be super annoyed if I'm trying to listen to a workout and someone like won't stop talking to me and like wanting that valid, like, oh, like kiss me, like tell me you love me. It's like, obviously I'm in the middle of something, but also she was so weird about it so many times. Like, at least you would think that someone who normally throws money at problems or like wants problems to be resolved immediately through the least amount of effort on her part. All these little times Asher is nagging, being like, just tell me you love me. Well, you could, like, it's your husband. You've probably said it 20,000 times. Just be like, yeah, of course I love you. And then move on so you don't have to get badgered by this man constantly. It was just it was like almost one of the funny scenes where you're just like, panic rowing.
Well, she
I
can't
feel
pay
like
him money. That's the problem.
Yeah,
she has to say, I love you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like that's the
currency,
issue.
baby.
I feel like the issue is like, yeah, she doesn't care about the money, but like if she tells him that she loves him, then she feels like bad. I think that she can separate herself when it's just money, because it's like, whatever, I'm just giving the money. It doesn't matter. But like when it's actually like emotional labor or like emotional currency, she can't do it.
Again, I think the show is about self-image and self-perception. And so it's not actually that if she says she doesn't love him, that's not because she's a bad, what will be bad is like she's lying. Like he'll think she's a bad person. Like that's the thing that she doesn't want to like kind of lie to him in this. Like if she never says it and then later she's like, she could say like, I never told you I loved, like I'm actually right here. But if she like, the only way she can get out of this is if she says she loves him, but if she doesn't love him, then she's lying. And then that can be used to make her seem like a bad person later. She's like, let's just not talk about it. And then they decide to go watch the cut.
Yes, and Asher calls her out too for the change in the contract, which says that if the performer can be exposed to ridicule or portrayed in a negative light.
Well, this what I was going to say too is like, talk about like, there is a reason. I think like what the show also did really well is that there is enough here to show why they are actually like together in the first place, which is like he's reading through I'm not a lawyer or anything, so I'm not reading through a lot of my contract, but he's like reading through the contract to make sure like they're going to be good, like that they're okay. And he finds this piece that like they can just make fun of him basically, and he can't sue them. And so he does have competence in that way. It's just that unfortunately he found the thing that she was hoping to kind of hide.
Meg, what were you going to say too?
Not to like backtrack too much, but I was just going to say that like Whitney has used emotion as a currency with Kara when Kara wasn't sure if she wanted to accept the job or to show her art on Whitney's show, how she was using her relationship with Asher as a way to make Kara feel bad for her and agree to work with her. And yes, there was the $20,000, which obviously had a huge impact on Kara's decision. but it did make her stay and talk to Kara and then play basketball, which is the greatest prize of all. So, you know, what a gift.
Better than bowling.
Basketball is more fun than bowling for sure.
Okay, so yeah, we go to Dougie's hotel room to watch the cut of the show. And Dougie tries to reiterate, he's like, you know, we play up the tension, but it's in a really fun way. But we make it clear that you guys really, really love each other.
Super clear.
Super clear.
So crazy. You would think that there would be more process in this. Like, we have the actual HGTV rep now. We have a new name for the show. We have all these things being changed. You have one editor and Dougie in a hotel room rejigging the whole show. And then Asher and Whitney can just like walk in and hang out on the hotel bed and see clips of the show. The whole thing seems a little crazy.
Some of this is, I do think, like, an episode that I would agree is not that funny. We obviously get the most tense and awkward sequence, I think, of the show. That's like, without really, I guess, like dropping off the statue. I mean, there are some moments, but it's pretty uncomfortable by the end when Nathan realizes what's really happening. But throughout, the small talk that Dougie is making, the moments that Dougie has voiced over the voice clips that are coming,
so
it's actually Dougie saying the things is so good. And then Asher being upset that they're saying that he's taking comedy classes. I'm like, well, don't say that. That'll make it seem like I'm not that funny. Is very funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very awkward situation for everyone involved. Whitney just like sits there too and like stares straight ahead and doesn't even really react, which is the most crazy of all.
I can't think of something worse happening to you. It's like like in the scheme of things, right? It's like you are making the show with your wife who you think loves you, although you're a little bit questioning it. And now you're in this hotel room in front of an old friend of yours who you also learned recently thought that he just bullied you and was not actually friends with you. Some random editor. And instead of just having a conversation with you, your wife has made all these testimonials on your show together, just saying how much she doesn't want to be with you, and now you have to watch it with Dougie sitting in a hotel room. It's like
Dougie's just there,
insane. It's and like the editor.
Those bowls are really expensive, huh?
So crazy. Like, honestly, if I was Dougie, I would be like, because you understand what's happening at some point. You know, Whitney is explaining, no, I want him to see this part. I think I would frankly say, you know what, you guys need to just have a real conversation, and I'm not showing you it. Discuss your feelings, like take the hotel room. It's crazy to hit play when you know what's coming.
It is, because from Whitney's perspective, I think this is like, she's like ripping off a Band-Aid of sorts of like, we need to have the conversation, but I'm not actually going to have the conversation. I'm going to show you the edited version of the show that shows that I'm unhappy with you. And so that it makes sense, I think, from Whitney's point of view. From Dougie's, I don't really get why he hangs out and hits play. I do think, and again, not to jump, but like in this, what I think is brilliant about the curse and the character, all of this stuff like being in a mixing pot and coming together, is Asher gets up and he storms out, and you're like, okay, Asher has stood up for himself. That's a moment. Okay, he's like, at least he's left. And then he returns.
He comes back.
And he, again, we're not beating the cuck allegations, when he basically is like, you're right.
Oh my God. Meg, do you agree with that Asher's pathetic?
This was so awful. I just hate everyone. But okay, if you were Dougie, like, would you want to watch this conversation? Like, would you hit play?
No, there's nothing I would want less than to sit in that room.
Yeah, why does Dougie? I don't know. Like, the only I mean, yeah, Dougie should have just left. But there's someone. I think that they just want the funny lines of him commenting, like him trying to play it cool. Because Dougie's kind of like Dougie doesn't really know. I guess he does know here. So yeah, that's probably
I feel like
it's probably the
Dougie's
weakest part.
Dougie's the most in the know. The poor editor.
Yeah.
Like, you should want to get up and leave. It's insane. Okay. Man, I'm so conflicted because this is crazy. This is like the most not the most, but it is a terrible way to receive news that your wife actually wants a divorce, like for real.
Well, she's questioning the marriage is I think what she says in the confessional.
Yeah. And like he is obsessed with her, is in love with her. This is his wife. Like, isn't part of the point of marriage fighting for the marriage, like when things get tough?
Yeah, I mean, they did that jeans and a white button down photo shoot. Like, I don't understand how they could give up on this so easily. I do feel like, not to give Dougie credit, but I do think he was like, we really don't need to show him this. Like, I think he did try a couple times to be like, we don't need to do this.
He 100% should have been like, oh, we didn't want to use that footage. It's been deleted.
I think maybe to some degree, like the part of this is that everybody is riding on the show being a success, and I guess for Dougie to know that like Whitney's unhappy, like maybe her ripping off the Band-Aid and like not just like, is it kind of cruel to just like keep, like just hide this edit, and maybe it's better that they all get on the same page and it's they know. Then ultimately Asher leaves, but then him coming back and like saying that I've not been cursed. I just need to improve myself. It's so awkward, and I love it so much. I think it's a bit of genius to have him come back into the room. I think it's incredible television.
Okay, but who is more pathetic? Whitney, who can't have a basic conversation with her husband.
Yeah.
Of saying like, hey, because Asher would so work with you on it, and I think that's the problem. Like, she doesn't want him to work on it. She just wants it to be done and not have to deal with it, and to like wipe her hands clean, and to not even have to have like a single difficult conversation, or even something that like Asher's so agreeable. He'll listen to an argument and take notes on like how to be kinder to her and better for her, completely ignoring his own part and maybe like responsibility in the argument, and that maybe Whitney should try to be better for him as well. He just like, everything he does is just like doting on her and just like wanting things to work so badly. Like, she knows if she has a conversation with him, he'll actually change and try to do something differently. And we see that in the show where he takes notes and tries to actually adjust. Like, he takes feedback and does something about it. So instead of just having a constructive conversation, which is what it could be if she wanted that, she's like, let me just fucking burn the house down, and assumed it was done. And she wouldn't have to even have a conversation about it.
Also, if he leaves, and then maybe they can go and be like, hey, like he's off the shit. Like, we should just do like that is not a possibility that like it can be a couple, and maybe they'll they'll just like greenlit, and then her worst nightmare. he comes back in. He's like, I'll fix myself. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You've been right. And that's her worst nightmare. It's like the worst thing that her partner could be is this cuck.
Persistent.
Oh.
Yeah.
Persistent. Oh. He won't give up.
So my impression at the end, so Whitney is obviously surprised that he comes back. He has this long, excruciating speech about how, you're right. I'm going to change things. I need to be better, blah, 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 blah. You can watch it and suffer through it on your own. And she is so surprised and is like, you really still want to be with me after that? And the impression that I got at the end of this conversation is that she's back in. She's like, oh,
really?
You still want me after all of this? Like, you must really love me. And my impression at the end was that she's good again. And this has been, like, they're going to fix this.
Oh, I did not get that read at all.
Okay.
I got the read that, again, she's just trying to save face, even though like Dougie knows about all these problems. But in my mind, like, I think that she still hates his guts.
I think she's like, I can truly do literally anything that I want. And even when I try to push him away, like, he's still trying to be better for me and for us. Because, like, just when she was so surprised and saying, like, I can't believe you still want to do this after everything I've done to you. Yeah, like my prediction is that at least at the end of this conversation, like she's been impressed by this speech and is like a little bit won over.
I think there can be a little bit of both, in the sense that like she's so stuck here. Like she's so stuck because if she like tells him off, then she will look like a bad person because he's being like the nice person by coming back and be like, I was wrong. But also, and then also she needs to kind of like play it cool to like there is a world where like he's he's moldable again, you know? She can be like whatever, he can be whatever version that she maybe needs. So, and she's stuck with him anyway because she's going to look like a jerk if she breaks it off now. So she's stuck. They're all stuck.
Except for Dougie.
Dougie's got to hitch his horse to this whole thing because he's the
Yeah.
producer of the show. Like they're all stuck.
Yeah, to me, like, I think Whitney, I don't know if it was Emma Stone's acting, like the way that she was kind of responding, like to me, she just seemed more uncomfortable with Asher saying all this and like almost like panic attacky. Like she was like, oh fuck, I do not want this at all. I wanted him to just be gone. That's how I felt.
I feel like I would be like, oh yeah, everything's still fine.
It's pretty intense. I'm just like looking at it now again, and she's just like staring at it, teary eyed.
She just is staring, and like the way that she's just staring, and she's not like, it's not like she's like hyperventilating and stuff either. Like it's almost like she's just holding her eyes open while crying. It's a wild look.
Yeah, the
that she's
tears
got
start going down. Yeah, it's pretty intense. Although
she's a really good actress.
She's
I don't
so
know if
good.
anyone knew.
She's so good. Yeah. Gosh.
Also, like, I think she still doesn't forgive him for not giving Nala the $100, which he reveals.
He
too.
does reveal that he does not. Yes. Again, I think that like, yeah, she need like so much of it is about perception. Now that he's revealed this thing that he never gave her $100. That feels bad too. Yeah.
Like she's just gonna bring up all of these things in another week. You know, like she's so brings up these tiny issues to like nudge him and be like, oh, you were holding your phone in that scene. Oh, you didn't give Nala the $100. Oh, you only were the whistleblower because I made you be the whistleblower. Like I feel like she just will continue like poking and prodding him until he, I don't know, literally goes crazy. Like we've seen Asher kind of have these big explosive moments like at the beginning with the reporter. So I actually was expecting when he came back in that it was going to be like not like violent, but I did think that it was going to be a lot more aggressive in kind of a negative way.
No,
but
he's just a cuck.
He's just pathetic.
He really so much is. Yeah, it's this is truly one of my least favorite scenes. It was.
I love it.
And it's a lot. But wait, let's say the one line when Asher calls Whitney a good girl.
Oh my god.
Forgot about
the end he like says, I think he just says like, oh, you're like good girl and I want to die. I hate that so much.
Again, I mean, in terms of like ways to get to Whitney, like Whitney just wants to be perceived as a good human being, and this is a good girl, and it's so uncomfortable and awkward, but that is what she wants. That's the only thing she wants, is to be feeling like she's, you know, this perfect person who does good for other people, you know? So he kind of knows her so well too. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like they are so like twisted and, you know, like gross and corrupt together, and they need to stay together because like no one else would put up with either of them. And it's like she knows about your parents and all the weird money and all of your weird houses that you own together, and he's out there doing all this weird curse stuff that's like crazy and like overextending and talking to Nala in weird ways, and that's super weird and worth breaking up with in the first place. And she's just awful and like throws money at her problems, which like could maybe be fun, but also is like a little bit immoral. And like, who else would do this. You're together.
I
You
feel
guys
like-
caused this chaos together.
I think Whitney could go find like another Nepo baby, like rich kid. And I think she would be like very happy in that kind of
Someone like
relationship.
super snobby and artsy and thinks their art is like super highbrow when it's not.
Yeah, someone who's like, oh, I'm like an artist, but then they've never actually sold a painting. They just have rich parents. Like, I think that would be really her vibe.
Or like they have like really bad paintings, but like think that they should sell for like $30,000 each, and like, but they're not very good. And then if you try to argue with them, they're like, oh, all about like perception and the vibe and the meaning.
I think part of the problem of being with Asher is that Asher is, and I like it's very, there's so much Nathan Fielder in him in the way that he's actually kind of too smart for like he kind of knows like coming back in is it's not smart, but it is kind of smart. There is some like to know that like if I come back in and just tell her what she wants to hear and that I'm been the fool and I need to prove I'm a bad person, like maybe that will fix it. And so I think she just needs someone so dumb, you know, that like won't know any of this stuff, and she can just like she really can mold to be whatever she wants. But
She needs a himbo.
she does need a himbo, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who does Asher need?
A therapist. Like he needs some help. Like he needs to get some confidence. Remember how I said I think he should join Fernando's gang? Like I think that's what he needs. He needs some like
Okay.
strong male friendships that can like build him up, or maybe like some platonic girlfriends. Like you know what I mean? He just needs to be he needs to find himself.
He does.
Now, Grace, there has been multiple times throughout this series where Kelly has thought there's like a strong sexual vibe between Asher and Dougie.
Yes.
And I need to know. What?
Yes!
No.
So
No.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, again, I
I
didn't.
wanted your opinion and immediately don't want it anymore. You
So
crazy.
I think I say yes in the way that I think when I was first watching it, I did think it was there. I will say I don't really think it's. I don't think it's there. And there's also I do think like Dougie just has some weird sexual energy happening because I think there's also some like he's really
It's
attracted.
the rings.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
also
know.
attracted to Whitney, I think, right? So it's
wait,
like
wait.
He's
We're gonna
giving like
focus.
he's giving like Chris Angel or something.
For Christmas, I'm buying Colin like 10 finger rings so you can see if this is like the sexual energy you are looking for.
he has a ring on every finger, right? That's right. Yeah.
Okay,
It seems
I also have a question. One, insane take. The two of you need to go to jail. Two, I have also convinced myself that Dougie has fucked Whitney while Asher watched.
No.
And that's how he knows about the whole cuck thing. Like, I think that happened.
No, I think it's so obvious that he's a cock. You don't need to have. I don't think so.
I think he was at least asked. Like, I think that this was something that happened.
No, I feel like there's no way he asked. That is such a crazy question to ask your friend.
The reason
It's a crazy question to ask literally anyone.
Okay, the reason I think that there's like sexual energy is because I think so much of this show is about wanting to be like perceived as a person, like you know, and mostly a good person or whatever. And so there's so much neediness from all of these characters that I think weirdly translates into weird sexual energy because they want to be like wanted and liked and be perceived as good. I mean, that's like again the mirror image, like the mirror distortion is so important. I think to like that's a central theme they put in the show. The housing, the reflective housing, and then it's like the imagery of the title card. So much about like that I feel like sometimes gets maybe misread by us as like sexual energy, but it's a want of being liked, and so that's what I think. Yeah.
Weirdly, I feel like the person who has like the least chemistry, not like as an actor or anything, but like there's no like sexual energy to me, is Whitney. Like to me, I'm like, I feel like I don't like with Cara, it's not there.
No.
With Asher, it's not there. It wasn't even there with the guy who was like leading her into the fake bathroom.
That was so bad. No, I completely agree. I think you're so right. She's giving nothing.
It's like, and I think it's because she's so like fake, that like she can't even be vulnerable enough to like for me to be like, you want to fuck someone.
So I've been trying to think about that, and I was hoping I would just figure it out. Who was watching her and then like kind of followed her at the beginning of the episode?
Okay.
We don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking, could it have been the driver, Phoebe? But I doubt it.
Because it's very ominous, I think, at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then they don't really follow her. They like go ahead of her and go to her.
But then
work.
they go, but then they make it to the same plaza.
They go to the same plaza, yeah.
So they probably know her. But
could it have been
like are going to...
Yeah.
Could it have been her parents?
I don't think it'd be
like Paul.
I don't know who it is.
No, her parents would like, she would see them driving by and would like comment or be like, Mom, Dad, don't be near me.
So I thought it could have been, I think Dougie, like we've seen Dougie in a car a lot. I think he's also the most sort of like, he's observing everything. He's the most like watching everything unfold character, I think.
But he drives a Mustang.
He does drive a Mustang. So
and this car had a cracked windshield. I did notice that.
I think
so
it's
it was
someone...
like clearly like a less fancy car.
It's someone who knows her, but I think she would have overlooked that person. Like, she knows Dougie. She would notice Dougie driving by. She like walks right past the person. So it could be like someone from one of her parents' houses. It could be like, you don't know. And also something that maybe we didn't talk about is when she went to visit her parents, like the superintendent, I think it was there, talked to Whitney as if she was an old family member, like knew her so well, catching up with an old friend. Like, she has clearly spent a ton of time with her parents on their properties, was very involved in the business. So as much as she's trying to detach herself, like as soon as she walks in, like it's very clear that she's not detached at all.
And she Googles herself too in the episode, and like all these pictures of her like opening the housing, whatever, the apartment complex with her parents show up. Like, she's everywhere.
The timeline could work that it could be the guy who gets fired, right? And he's like figuring out that, like, if he's like watching so that he knows when he can put the Post-it note on, I guess.
Oh, maybe.
If it
happened like literally right then.
Yeah,
I guess it could have happened really quickly.
But she walks to work. Where does he leave the Post-it note? On Amy?
On her car.
Oh yeah, on her car.
Yeah, but she's like walking there. Yeah, I don't know.
The fact that you don't know makes me upset that we clearly don't find out.
I mean, yeah, it is, there is a,
like, we never find out. Like, everyone's watching, right? Very upsetting. Because if it was one person, that would be crazy. I think that all the shots throughout the whole series are just like this overarching thing where like they clearly don't belong. Like, they stand out. People are looking at them because they don't fit in. They don't belong in this neighborhood. Like, people are noticing them. They're different. They're being watched. Like, you notice someone they walk by because they're so different from everyone. Even like how they hold themselves, the way they walk around town. It's just different. Well, and so people are noticing.
And it's a theme of the show, is like this idea of constantly, the thing they most are worried about is how they are perceived by other people.
Yeah.
And so you get a lot of these just shots of like them being watched. And again, even like so much of the camera work, if you notice, is documentary style from afar, but like things just like blocking the frame. So you're never getting a full, like, it's very rare that you get almost, and then I was noticing in this episode, one of the only times we see them not being blocked, or like, you know, even the image, the scene where they're filming the cupcake stuff, like the bakery stuff, which is so ick as well. Like, that's through the windows. So it's blocked and framed. The only time they're actually like being vulnerable with each other is when they're sitting in the hotel room watching this edited version of a television show. And it's one of the only times where the camera's not blocked. You see all of them. And I find that really fascinating. Like, those editing choices that I think, you might not pick up on, but they're very smart. So I think this show is great.
Even in the edited version, like the same thing when they're actually doing the confessionals in the little edited show, it's the same thing. Like, they're straight on versus like the rest of the episode.
Yeah. So then, there's an idea that maybe the only real authentic version is like the version that they like put themselves on a television show, which we know is not true. I just think it's very clever. I think also like it's so fun to think that, like, again, thinking about why did Nathan Fielder go and do this project, it's fun to think about the fact that he wanted to tackle this idea of like being on television, right? So even his character is in the show is somebody who is kind of obsessed with the idea of being on television, and that to me really translates with like the other projects that Nathan has done are these sort of like pseudo real, pseudo fake television properties that he's created in The Rehearsal and Nathan For You.
I'm so curious as well, like the casino storyline, which like I guess is mostly concluded now, but that feels like such a Nathan For You bit.
It does.
To have the lights changing to make people gamble more. And I'm like, I feel like that was a failed Nathan For You idea that he then worked into this script.
He recycled it. Yeah.
But I also, I'm curious about why he worked in this whole gambling thing. Like, was it just because of the Nathan For You of it all? Or was there something else? Because like that seems like such a random kind of thing to throw in. That was kind of like a big part of the first half.
Well, we also saw that in The Rehearsal, he mentions his personal issue with gambling and how he had a gambling addiction and his concerns about going to Vegas, which is after this came out. So maybe he also, and we know that in his work, especially The Rehearsal, he talks a lot about very real issues. So maybe even bringing to light in a small way on this show about how casinos manipulate people into gambling for longer, or when they should have restrictions, how, you know, people laugh at them and how these casinos are profiting off of people's vulnerabilities. So, you know, I hope that we get more of a conclusion to this storyline. I think the reporter, like in my mind, if this were to be concluded, we would find out something from the reporter. But there's so many different categories of things that we don't really get a conclusion, or we might not get a conclusion with. I also want us to talk about, before we move on to the voicemail, I would love us to talk about the passive houses, because this episode is the first time we see Whitney's quote unquote original design, because we know that the very full mirror on the outside of the house is a well-known passive house design. And so she wants to be perceived as different because of Kara's mentioning the fact that she's copying someone. So she does almost a stained glass mosaic of these broken mirror pieces. And so as we transition from the full mirror to this broken mirror, I think that there's a lot of like symbolism of, you know, I think it's very obvious, but as purely aesthetically, I really like it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's very cool. I feel like it's giving a little bit of Burning Man to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Or like Disco Ball, which is fun.
It's very fun.
It's a style of art that I think is very cool, and yet I'm never living in this house. I'm like, it's too much. I want to blend in more than like living in the completely shard mirror passive house.
I love the idea of living in a passive house. I don't know what the outside would necessarily look like in the situation that I'm living in one, but like I really like the concept. I like the broken mirror, but again, in this neighborhood, like how much you would stick out is crazy. But Grace, kind of a lot about how you were talking about like perception and how people view themselves. Like we're seeing like cracks in their mirror and the perception of themselves. I want to talk about our predictions for the episode.
Yes.
So shall we roll into that?
Yes. Let's play our voicemail from our pal Andy.
Hey, Megan and Kelly. It's Andy from London again. I've really enjoyed rewatching The Curse with you. And we're coming towards the end. And I'm wondering if you'd both like to hazard a guess as to how this all wraps up. Okay, done it? Oh boy, I can't wait for you to find out how wrong you are, but you're going to have a blast. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Andy, one, is an absolute legend. Two, has no confidence in us being able to guess, which like is probably fair.
When you told me that you had
to talk about it.
When you told me you had a voicemail and it was about predicting the finale, I think I said pre-pod. I don't think in a million years you can guess. So I have about the same level of confidence, seemingly, as Andy.
There's so many categories of things that are happening. Like, do we go over them one by one and talk about like how we think each of the storylines conclude, or just like in general, should we throw a few ideas at the wall and see if they pan out?
I feel
That
like we
one?
just got to go ideas because, like, I think there was too many storylines that will probably go nowhere. Like
Okay.
the person following Whitney.
Yeah,
Clearly
apologies for
goes
spoiling
nowhere.
that.
That's okay.
I do think
The-
one thing I was gonna say is that, like, about that specifically was this idea that there's so many things that I do think for the most part what you should take away from most stories are how does it impact mostly Asher or Whitney. So a story is
Yeah.
not so much about potentially the thing that actually happens in that story. Like, you know, do we find out whether like this thing was true or not? Like that doesn't really matter. It's more about how it impacts Asher or Whitney, and again related to the idea of self. So I say all that, and then also to say there are wild things that happen in the finale. So like that's not even fully true what I'm saying. So, you know, do with that what you will.
Well, one of my guesses, which I don't know how much it like directly affects Asher and Whitney in like a big way. I do think the first passive house is going to explode. And I feel like I'm waiting for it to blow up because there's going to be that weird gas situation. And
Yeah.
maybe like the passive house with like all the broken glass on the outside is kind of giving us a little foreshadowing of all the broken glass that we're going to see on that first passive house. I feel like I've been waiting for it to explode. Not that I want it to explode, but I just feel like it's really going to throw a wrench in their plans for the show. I feel like the show is going to end up getting canceled. I think that the Green Queen thing, like there's so many reasons why it shouldn't be working out. Like it seems like her relationship with Asher isn't going great. The passive houses aren't selling. We have these fake actors who are being portrayed as the buyers because they're having difficulty finding real buyers. Nobody seems to be integrating well into the neighborhood. The shops that they have, again, one of them is just getting robbed all the time, and that's how it's being funded by Whitney's credit card. The coffee shop isn't going to be functioning anymore. So it really doesn't feel like any aspect of their show and how they're integrating into the community is working out. Her relationship with Cara is very fake. So there's all these elements that to me feels like all these bad things are going to actually play out, and there will be no show. There will be no more Green Queen, and it will just be like done. And maybe she'll go back and she'll just work for her parents.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
I will also say maybe I should read the title of the next episode.
Oh,
it's called
okay.
Green Queen, and the only description is months later ... season finale. So there is a time
maybe
jump.
the show goes out. So okay, maybe I'm 100% wrong. I didn't read ahead at all, but it does really seem like the show came out and that everything's fine.
Well, I get the question. Is like one of the things I think is like when I said earlier that they're like stuck. I think one of the things I was thinking about going into the finale was there's kind of I almost thought about this with Succession as well before that finale happened, where it was like it feels like if like businessy wise someone's successful, then they're not personally successful. Like they'll be unfulfilled, and like those two things can't both happen. And so you're like kind of like there's like a happy ending where like the show is good that like doesn't feel real happy, and then there's like the show being unsuccessful, but maybe that's actually better for them personally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's not going to be a personally good ending, though. I do feel like I feel like Whitney's going to get pregnant. Based on like we had all this pregnancy stuff earlier on in the season, and I feel like it has been in the back of like the mind of Whitney. Like we saw, I think there was a couple mentions of like pregnancy and kids at certain points, and it seemed like she kind of like turned off. I feel like that's going to happen, especially if it's months later.
The network person also mentioned like
jokes about a kid.
Yeah.
But like, is that what she wants? I don't know. It's so.
I think she thinks she wants it.
The thing about a kid, I think, in terms of like the network being like, oh, a kid, is it feels like what great what a great like boon. It also then feels like she is committed to, like, if she has a baby with Asher, she's like not stuck, but like kind of, you know, and if she like detests Asher,
crazy.
she has a baby that's from Asher, you know? Yeah.
That's crazy. I think we need to talk about the curse. And
Yes,
Nala.
okay.
Tis the name of the show.
Please.
And Dougie.
We better get some Nala back.
We better get some Nala.
Our girls. We need the girls.
People keep saying like, oh, it's so crazy what happens at the end. And I feel like kind of everything we've been saying, sorry, Lucy is like all up in here. So if you hear purring, there's a cat like directly beside me. I don't know if you can see her on camera, but I feel like it's got to be so wacky and out there. And like there needs to be payoff for this curse. Also, there's this mysterious tree situation
yeah, the tree.
that Stuart has alluded to. So I don't know what happens with the tree. I think it was outside of Abshira and Nala's house. So I think maybe we find out that like the curse is real and something something really wacky happens with that. I think Dougie would like to find out that he was actually cursed and that nothing is his fault.
Yeah.
I just can't think of like, this seems like a normal show. Like it doesn't seem like there's actual like magic and like outside forces and this crazy stuff. So it feels like something has to be grounded a little bit in reality unless like we go real out of left field. But
I feel like we've gotten so much Dougie car stuff. Like there needs to be some kind of resolution with Dougie and the wife and the car.
Does he crash into the tree?
He crashes in the tree.
I forgot the whole storyline. Yeah, right? That Dougie like killed his wife while he's drunk driving.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally forgot about that. I totally forgot.
And then he keeps trying to get drunk and drive other people home so he can prove to himself that
he didn't. Yeah,
his
that's right.
wife that
it was not his fault. And even if he was sober, it would have happened.
I forgot about that. I forgot.
It's crazy.
It is pretty unhinged behavior from Dougie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do feel like also we're going to get some more from the Pueblo. That has been like kind of a big storyline, like the title stuff. I think I wouldn't be surprised if those folks come back in some kind of way. I can't remember what the leader's name was, maybe James. I feel like he might make another appearance for better or for worse.
Oh, okay. Kelly's coming over this weekend. Can we watch the last episode together?
Oh yeah, we should.
We should do that.
That's a great idea.
We haven't watched any episodes together. This is great.
It's a good one to watch together. I have to tell you.
Okay.
We'll maybe do like a live reaction. We'll record something short afterwards.
The one thing I'll tell is like, again, I don't think you can guess what happens, but in terms of like theme.
Well, we clearly haven't then.
No, it's okay. But like theme and like the questions, like I think that those are like, do Whitney and Asher stay? Like, are they together? Is the show successful? Like, is the curse real or not? Like, you actually are like you're in the ballpark of like what you should be thinking about.
We mentioned things that are on the show.
Well, but they're the main things of the show, and those get some resolution.
The biggest compliment you can give us. You're so positive and so nice. You're so nice. You're like, you have mentioned things that are in fact on the show.
Like you did.
And those are things.
You remember that the name of the show is called The Curse. Like, wow.
Wow.
You
Thank God we didn't have to say Fliplanthropy this time.
Fliplanthropy, my God.
Yeah.
The worst.
Okay, fuck. We're clearly super off, which is really like, how could we... What else?
What's Dougie's other?
The tree grows legs and fights everyone. I don't know.
What's Dougie's other show idea? What's the other one that I didn't watch? That's one of my favorite bits.
The burn victim one.
Burning Love.
No, that's a real show.
That is so crazy.
Love in the Third Degree.
Oh my god!
Right? I think that's what it's called.
I just want Dougie to get to have that show take off and that be super popular. Not that I necessarily want Dougie to succeed, but I guess I do. Like, I'd love to have, he wants so badly to have all these, quirky little things added to the show. And to have all these fun twists and turns. And the show is just, so boring to him. And, the most exciting thing happening in an episode is, Whitney and Asher are, wiping frosting on each other's noses and giggling. And he just wants chaos. He wants a burn victim to find love, and I hope that show takes off.
Yeah, I feel like we have to get some supernatural forces.
But like, why?
I just do.
There's been none of it so far.
But like, I feel like we can't have it. Can't be called the curse. We can't have Nala cursing people, all for it to not have anything supernatural.
Can we find out who's putting chicken everywhere? Is it just Dougie?
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I do want to know who's putting the chicken everywhere. That is an important one.
Oh, do you think it's Whitney and she just like wants to ruin Asher's life? She's like, I'm gonna drive this man crazy.
Could be. I mean, I do think Asher might go crazy. That is like a real potential future for him.
But in your timeline where like they're pregnant and a happy little family and the show is successful, like that seems like based on the title, it does sound like, 5 months later everything's like worked out. But it just feels like that would be so anti the curse. Like, I just want shit to hit the absolute fan.
Well, I think it will. Like, a spoiler alert, and like I can say this because I was also a pregnant woman. Like, pregnant women can be fucking nightmares. So, and I love an evil pregnant lady. Like, I watched The Valley season 1, and I was like, yes, Janet, I'm obsessed with the fact that you are just evil and pregnant. Like, that's unreal for you.
But like, leave them alone. Like, they're going through a lot. Like, Kelly told me recently, I keep finding out things about being pregnant that sound awful and like are very jarring and surprising to me, because I've like shielded myself my whole life and like pretended this thing in life doesn't exist because it sounds like a big bad. Kelly like recently went to the dentist and is like, oh yeah, when you're pregnant, like all like the nutrients from your teeth get sucked out, and now my teeth are just useless.
Yeah.
I'm like, they take your teeth too?
Yeah.
They suck
what
everything.
do they leave you with?
They're literally a parasite.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Unfortunately. But it's rough.
Sweet
it's
baby
rough.
Eddie.
So I'm just saying, like, if Whitney's pregnant, she could be a nightmare.
The girl's
and she
losing
would be,
her
I think.
teeth, her hair.
She's
hungry.
I love looking at like, because I think at the time, like, the sentiment about the show was like, because I was so interested when because like I figured you would be mostly more pro it than against it, but I still think this is like can be such a polarizing show. And so it's been a delight to chat with you, but I wanted to go see. And when I look at the IMDb ratings, the finale is the highest rated. But I do, and then on Rotten Tomatoes, I do love this. The critic score is 93% for the show, and the audience score is 45.
Wow.
I love that this is the type of. But I think also, like, you're in Nathan Fielder territory. Like, you have to, like, to me, like, even within myself, the season 1 finale of The Rehearsal is the most polarized I've ever felt about a show, because I think it's brilliant, and also I don't know if it should have been made.
The season one finale.
Where the kid is like, Daddy, I'm like, should we have done it?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I want to actually rewatch it now that I have a kid. I feel like I would have really different opinions on it.
I was like, I think it's an incredible piece of television, and I feel morally like maybe we shouldn't have done it, which is probably how Nathan feels.
Kelly, do we, now that we're almost done all of Nathan Fielder's shows, do we just run it again?
Run it back, the Rehearsal season 1, solely because now I have a kid and have a different opinion?
Well, is he not him and Emma Stone, I think, are still, there's the chess movie that's coming.
Yeah, the chess movie.
That's supposedly coming.
And then there's been all these rumors of him and Elizabeth Holmes, right? Like, they were spotted together, which would be like crazy.
On Raya, I heard, right? They were on Raya.
Elizabeth Holmes.
That would be crazy.
I mean, celebrity dating show doesn't seem out of, that seems like that's The Rehearsal season 3. I don't know.
I would die for a Nathan Fielder dating show.
The other one,
that's all I want.
The other one I say, I don't know if you've watched it, but How To with John Wilson is like, would be very fun for you to do as well.
We did watch it. I think because they're so short, like the clips, and like it would just be a lot of like it'd be very difficult to podcast about.
But he just has this way that I think Nathan does too, Nathan, for you, of just finding someone who will let them into his life in the strangest way. I think is the incredible thing about How To with John Wilson. But yeah,
we'll find something. We've got some ideas in the can.
Yeah,
The Chair Company, which we will be talking about shortly.
I love it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Grace, thank you so much for coming to chat with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Everyone know where to follow you, what you've got going on,
Yeah.
anything else?
I'm on
you wanna
social media
plug?
at Hi From Grace. I'm the Tastemakers on RHAP. We talk scripted TV on there, and I pop up on other pods as I can. I'm doing This Century in Cinema, counting down the top 100 films of the 21st century. This week was
Wow.
over on the Crying Laughing podcast feed. So this week was Anchorman.
Oh my
apparently
god,
the
a classic.
the 85th best film of the 21st century, apparently. So that should
Oh
come
my
out this week.
gosh.
And then I'm writing for Parade. I write for Pop Heist as well. So I do Survivor recaps
Oh.
and some other stuff there as well. So
Incredible.
That is so fun.
Before Nathan for Us, we had a brief action movie podcast.
Wow.
It's true. It's
called
true.
Cool Girls Look at Explosions.
that's a great name for a pod. Yeah.
I know.
If you ever
we were
want to
like,
use the feed,
Yeah.
feel free. I'll send you
There's
send
like
it your way.
six or seven episodes. I suspect not a single one of them would be in like the top movies of any list. But they were really fun.
I love that.
Yeah, are you like, can you spoil what's number one? Because I'm
it's-
famously a massive Titanic stan.
So Titanic is
Ooh.
99 now, I think, right?
What?
1997.
Oh
So
my god, it is. It's 97.
Yeah, so it's 21st century. So the list, it's the New York Times list. So they created
Okay.
it. So number one is Parasite.
Oh yeah.
Like we just did Past Lives last week. That's one of Errol and I's favorite.
Oh, I loved Past Lives.
I love Past Lives as well. So next week is Melancholia. So yeah,
that's a great movie.
It's so fun. I think the list is great because I think like either you've like seen it and so you don't even need I don't think anybody needs to rewatch Anchorman to like listen to the Anchorman pod this week. But then if it's like one you haven't seen, I feel like it's worth watching to like watch along with the pod. So I feel like it's like not it's like I feel like it's a light lift pod for people to like be listening to. So that's on the Crying Laughing
Very
podcast
fun.
feed.
Yeah, I'm like reading through it right now. I'm like, damn, these are some
We'll have
classics.
to connect afterwards and then we'll have you we'll chat.
I'm a big Social Network stan. I'm like
Okay.
obsessed with that
Okay, what do you
movie,
think about
if
the
you ever
fact
wanna
that they're
talk about
doing
it.
a sequel?
I hate that. I don't like it, and I think it's awful.
Jan 6.
I
Jeremy
also-
Strong. Yeah.
If anyone is interested in reading about how awful Facebook is, not that people like need to be told about that, you should read Careless People by Sarah Wynne Williams.
Okay. Careless
Which
people.
Yes, so she was a global policy manager at Facebook and essentially wrote this memoir all about how they did some crazy things among, helping Donald Trump win the presidency, promoting genocide in different countries, multiple countries around the world. So, yeah,
And
just
and
an
that's
absolute
bad.
wild tale.
That's bad.
Yeah,
Oh.
just so we're clear, that's
Okay,
bad.
okay.
But also crazy, she also was attacked by a shark. And that's also a crazy story that she tells
And that's
too. So
bad.
also bad.
Okay.
But yeah, if anyone wants to follow us on social media, we're at Nathan For Us Pod everywhere except for on TikTok where we're at Nathan For Us Podcast. And you can follow us on YouTube as well, Nathan For Us Podcast. You can follow Megan and I if you want to. Meg loves it when people follow her because she's private, so it's very exciting.
You have to
She's
accept
super
it.
mysterious.
I always check if like the person who requests like, are they following Kelly? Are they following the podcast? Is
Yeah.
this why you're following me? I think it's fun.
Yeah, I
I'm
might
like,
need
what
to
is
revive.
your origin?
I might be reviving my TikTok because I have some thoughts on a couple books that I've read recently. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Oh, I was also recently on the Ready to Be Romanced podcast talking about Barbarian Alien. If anyone wants
Oh my
to
gosh, Grace.
listen to
Do you know Ice
Wait.
Planet Barbarians?
No.
Oh, it's okay. Can I describe? Because you know too much, Kelly.
Sure. Meg, you describe your impression of Ice Planet Barbarians as someone who's never read any.
Yes. So there are these young ladies who are being human trafficked by aliens. They crash, I think, on a planet, and these big blue, sexy men
Aliens.
who have like queefs come and take the ladies, but the big blue guys are like very helpful and nice to the ladies and are not the bad aliens who tried to traffic them. And they just get really like up in each other's business in a sexual way.
22 books between 2015 and 2021.
But I
Yes,
think
and
each
there's-
book, aren't they like 100 pages each or
Oh.
something?
They're pretty short, but there's actually even more because she wrote like that was like the
I'm
main
seeing
ones, and
a
then she wrote some
spin-off series
spin-offs. Yeah.
set in a tropical island. I love that the planet's called Not Hoth.
Yes.
This is amazing.
It's pretty some of it's like pretty 2015 cringe, but also it's, you know, if you want to read about some like big blue alien dong and
Queefs.
I think this is amazing.
It's a wild time.
I think this is amazing. Yeah, this is incredible.
It's a wild time.
Wow.
Ruby Dixon, she's gotta hand it to her. She's out here. She's turning them out.
I think you said the ladies love the blue guys because like they go down on you and like are respectful.
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
The bar is in hell. They're just big himbos. Most of them are himbos.
I listened to Kelly's podcast, and one of the debates was like, do they have big dongs, or are their dongs just proportional because they are large and they are in fact normal?
Yeah. They're like 7 feet tall or more.
Oh,
so it's like,
wow.
is it
tell you what's been like percolating a little bit since you said crank that hog? Or
of course. Please, we're almost at the end. I'd love to hear it.
Well, it's been bothering me because I feel like it should have been something with like a cherry tomato, like, oh, like pick that cherry tomato or like something like that. So I'm hoping you can workshop it a little bit.
Yeah, maybe
crank
like
and hog feels like the wrong descriptors for the situation.
Yeah, like drizzle some olive oil.
Water that tomato.
This is so great because like I had in my notes like Ice Planet Barbarian talk and we should reworkshop Crank That Hog, and I really didn't think we'd get to them, but I'm glad my extensive research note taking has panned out.
I couldn't possibly go to bed without us revisiting this. I've been wondering, how can I bring this back up?
Close us out.
Okay. This has been Kelly and Megan and Grace on your side.